Hi there and welcome to This is Ibrox. You are joining Craig, Ross and myself for something pretty unique. We've just watched the game at my house today. Something we don't often get to do, so that was quite nice in getting to watch it back. We're normally absolutely freezing, but I'm sweating my pan in here, to be honest with you, and not because Rangers won 2-0. But listen, Craig, look, we'll just get straight into it. That lineup, I think, was met with a bit of trepidation from the Rangers supporters. I, for one, was not overly enthused when I saw that lineup. But how did you react to the lineup initially?
Yeah, I think given how the last few weeks have went, I probably reacted more favourably to that lineup than I would have had it been, say, 3-4 months ago. Towards the start of the season, I think it's just symptomatic of where we are as a squad, where we are as a team with injuries. I think it's really taken its toll. But what is really impressive is how it's galvanised the squad in recent weeks, especially in what have been really big games in terms of Betis away and then top in the Europa League group. You've then got Aberdeen a couple of days after in the League Cup final. You win that, you keep winning in the league, close the gap from 8 points to 2 points. It's been 2 points with a game in hand, I should say. So it's been a really positive one, and these are the players that have actually taken us through the vast majority of that. So while on paper I would not thank you for that lineup probably in most Rangers games, we saw again today how it can work and how it can get us 3 points on the board, and the train kind of keeps rolling on that front. So overall, I think the midfield two of Dow and Stelling is probably the surprise and the biggest symptom of, or the biggest sign of where we are currently. It's not one that I would ever expect to see really, but I thought both did well, both took their chance, and tricky conditions as well. So overall, it was not one I'd expect to see, but one that I'm glad got us 3 points today.
Yeah, and Ross, look, the perfect start for you here for the podcast, because we've got a goal to talk in the first sort of 4 minutes. It was a really, really good goal. Really good build-up play from Rangers. Great ball. I think Dowell initially won it back, and then for me, plays it into Dessos, and see that pass that he has to lay that ball back off to him for his assist. I think it's a phenomenal pass, phenomenal weight of pass as well. And then the finish, really, really good. But I mean, you just cannot ask for a better start than that.
No, I think the start from Rangers was really good today. I think Motherwell kind of played into Rangers' hand a little bit today. They came out and obviously wanted to try and play from the back, and Rangers have obviously sensed that early on. They've pressed high, and that's something we've wanted to see as a fan base for a long time. We've wanted to see Rangers start the games like this, and they have today. They do really well. They win the ball back, Kieran Dill, and he plays, like you said, a really good 1-2 with Cyril Dessers. And we've seen in weeks gone by with Cyril Dessers that maybe that kind of link-up play hasn't been there, but today he done really well with that. Plays it into Dowell, who I think again actually takes a really good touch to drag the ball away from the defender, and he smashes it high into Liam Kelly's goal. So really good goal. Really happy for Kieran Dowell, because he came into the team today and he's obviously trying to make an impact, and that's the best way to make an impact, isn't it? After scoring after 3 or 4 minutes. So really good goal from Rangers. Started really, really well, and I think that set the tone for the first 15-20 minutes of the game.
Yeah, 100%. And Craig was absolutely delighted because he doesn't have the two of us panicking because we hadn't scored earlier. Look, I'll just come on to the next goal here as well, the next action point in that first half. It didn't take long for Rangers to score again. Round about the 15-minute mark, it's just a wonderful bit of play from Rangers. Just the passing, just to keep the move going. The ball went back and forward from side to side. It's a really, really good ball into the box from Ridvan. I'm not sure if it's a good touch or a bad touch from Sima, but it's a goal that I've seen Sima score a couple of times this season against Betis, and I can't remember who the other one was, St Mirren or something like that, maybe. But yeah, I don't know if that's something we've been working on, is getting players into the box quickly to score that type of goal. But it was a lovely weighted finish from Cantwell in the end.
Yeah, I think everything about that goal was really good. First of all, the timing of it was class, because you're 2-0 up after 15 minutes and you're almost strolling at that point. The fact that the finish itself from Todd Cantwell was really good, and something we probably need to see more of from Todd Cantwell going forward. But we were watching the move as it was progressing, and we were seeing the passing at all times, and going from side to side. You're moving up the park slowly, and they're playing between the lines, and that's normally when it breaks down, because you have a good passing move and it gets to the edge of the box, and then kind of nothing happens, or there's a loose pass or whatever. And then this time there wasn't. So actually, I assume we'll see at some point on social media exactly how many passes there were in that passage of play. But it was a real positive one. I think it's exactly exactly how Philip Coman wants us to play, in terms of that pass and that movement, the shifting the opposition around, especially when they're playing a sort of more defensive style. I thought Motherwell came out more at us today than I would have necessarily expected, which played right into our hands, as we saw in the first sort of 10-15 minutes. But our press as well was so effective, and we saw that with the first goal. But 2-0 up after 15 minutes, 2 good goals. You're thinking, right, let's go on, make this 4 or 5. It didn't quite materialise in that way. I think we struggled with the conditions. We saw at times the ball going a bit mental with the wind and things like that. But ultimately, the main thing that mattered today was 3 points and no injuries, and I think maybe we just about got there.
Yeah, I think I see a team that's been playing more than that, like this had more games, the same personnel on the pitch. I think we do go on and win that a bit more, so I'll score a few more goals, I should say. But yeah, and the only other action point to talk about in the first half was the bit where Jack Butland, his aura was so imperious that the ball actually didn't want to go anywhere near him. It was not the wind, it was just Jack Butland. But look there, and Ross, seeing as it's Christmas, I was maybe going to leave this point a wee bit later, but we've just talked about him scoring. Get your overall thoughts on Cantwell, particularly in the first half. I really felt that he was pulling the strings, making things tick. A side of his game, he's not afraid to get into a challenge now, which I'm quite enjoying. But yeah, listen, here you go. You can get in your soapbox and talk about Todd Cantwell for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. It really does feel like Christmas now. Thanks very much. I think Todd Cantwell, especially in that first 15-20 minutes, was superb again. I think once he's been moved back into that number 10 position under Clement, he's really grabbed the opportunity. He's obviously trying to show that this is where he should be playing if he's playing for Rangers. And he's really shown he's our most creative outlet. I think we were all saying in the summer that this Rangers team had to be built around Todd Cantwell. I think we can all see the talent he has as a footballer, and I think he's started to really show that. And also, I've said this before, the other side of his game is actually really good. You know, he does the hard work, he tracks his runner, he's not, like you said, he's not afraid to make a challenge, and that's what I want to see from someone that's playing the Rangers jersey. I want them to give everything in all kind of facets of the game. So yeah, really impressed with him again. I think he's going to kick on another level now because he's starting to get that consistency in that position, and I think you're going to see more from him. And just on the goal itself, really good finish. Actually, it's not easy when the ball's bobbling like that. You're on the edge of the box and he just slots it by Liam Kelly. It's one of those ones where he's really just passed it into the corner, and that's what you want to see from a player in that position. Composure, isn't it? And he showed that. So yeah, really impressed with Todd Cantwell again. I think he's really, like you said before, grabbing that opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, grabbing that opportunity, that's the perfect way to put it. He's in that squad. After he got hooked after the Betis game, I thought, to be honest, not the Betis, what game was it? Limassol. They play in the same colours. That's my story and I'm sticking to it. But yeah, I thought that he was not done, but I did not expect him to see as much of him. But he's really, really taken that opportunity as a number 10. And speaking of a couple of guys that have taken their opportunity in that squad, Craig...
Give me the mic, yeah. I was just going to say I loved the use of the word houked, which about 10% of support will actually understand. So,
it's a brilliant word, man. But yeah, like two guys that have taken their opportunity in that team due to injuries for me, Ross McCausland and Dujon Sterling. Just a word on the pair of them, and maybe. Are you surprised that McCausland had as much game time as he had, especially given the manager alluded to it a couple of times?
Yeah, I think it was one of the after the first game, potentially the second game that Ross McCausland played. Philip Coman immediately said, "Look, he's a young player. He's just coming into the squad. He's good enough to play for the team, but he's not going to be at the fitness level, the strength level, to be able to deliver every 3 days." And I think we all accepted that as fans when he said that. So we were fully expecting, he'll maybe dip in and out the team and. He's played every game since, so I think he played 7 or 8 games in that period since, and he seems to have played every single one. I thought St Johnstone during the week was the perfect time for Scott Wright to potentially come in. Now he was back from injury. Again today was another opportunity for that to happen, and actually it's been interesting that McCausland is maintained his starting slot on those ones. I think he's not been in his best form the last few games. Don't know if that's a sign of that. Don't know if it's a sign of actually opposition that now understand a bit about how he plays because they've got a record to go against and they've got some video footage to be able to show, and they realise he goes inside 9 times out of 10 and that sort of stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how that develops. But I think it was for Ross McCausland, it's a real positive and it's good to see him, but I think he potentially maybe does need a wee bit of a rest, and it'll be interesting to see, especially in this next week when we've got the Old Firm game on the 30th. It'll be interesting to see, does he get that starting slot? Is he trusted in that starting slot? I think he will be, but it'll be interesting to see if he plays again on Wednesday against Ross County, doesn't have a great game again, does he continue to fill that right wing slot?
Yeah, and Craig's given us his thoughts there on McCausland. So Ross, I'm looking for your thoughts, and I love it when players give nicknames. I love Douche, Big Douche. What did you make of him today, and just his contribution to the team? I suppose it has only been a few games this season, but it's him slotting into central midfield. It's mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah, I think he deserves a lot of credit because he's shown how versatile he is, and I don't think it's something we really looked at him upon in terms of when he came in. I think a lot of people felt he was a right back, and then there was talk around him playing as a centre back, which I remember him shutting that down pretty quickly, saying he wasn't a centre back. So yeah, to come in to play centre midfield, you know, in a good few games for us now, and he doesn't look out of place, which is always the thing you would say is the biggest compliment for something like that. If they're playing out of the position, they don't look out of place. And yeah, I think everyone loves that type of player, even if he's not a midfielder, someone that just gets around the pitch. You know, there was certain times today where Motherwell looked like they might have an opportunity to break, and he was straight over making the tackle, making the interception. Everyone loves a player like that. They're just you can just imagine he's a nightmare to play against. So yeah, I'm really impressed with Dujon Sterling. I'm still not convinced he will be a central midfielder long term for Rangers, but the fact that he can come in and he can cover at the moment, it's extremely beneficial for us. Obviously, Philippe Clement has recognised he can play in there as well, so there's a lot of credit that goes to the manager on that one. And yeah, let's hope he can keep those performance levels up, because I think there's a strong possibility he will start in central midfield at Parkhead on the 30th. So let's hope he can keep these levels.
Well, that's that. You know, it's something the manager said he would do when he came in. It's not only, look to get in other players, see what the squad improve, but he's improving people within that squad. He just seems like a coach. He's making things, simple, and not overcomplicating the message. And speaking of keeping it simple, not overcomplicating the message, I think that's certainly something from a defensive point of view since Clement's come in, Ross. We have looked, really sound, really solid. What have you made of that? I mean, that's 7 wins out of 7. I think there's 4 or 5 clean sheets in there, and I'll say this stat was the last 3 games we have, because he did 0 shots on target, which is phenomenal.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. I think it comes down to that style that Philippe Clement wanted to see in his Rangers team when it was dominant, wasn't it? That was always the word he was using. I think you're starting to see that. I think Rangers, I don't think at times are playing scintillating football. I don't think they look as good as they can be. Now, of course, injuries play a part in that. They always do. If you've got different players coming in and out of the team every single week, it's very difficult to build up kind of rhythm between people. So I'm not going to be too harsh on the team in that. But what I would say is it's certainly a dominant style that the opposition are not really getting a lot of chances. That's summed up by that statistic there in terms of the shots on target. But I think even when you're watching the games now, you're quite comfortable with the game. I can think of games at Ibrox in the last couple of weeks in terms of St Mirren, Dundee, there's St Johnstone the other night, obviously today. I think there's teams in the league that have given us a bit of trouble before, that they're not really having any opportunity against us, and I think that's something that you definitely want to get back as a team. You want to kind of go into games and you want the opposition to feel like they've not really got a chance. You want the game to kind of be dead within the first 20 minutes, and I think you're starting to get that again with a Rangers team. Something we've wanted for a long time, isn't it? That dominant style of football, because I think I've said this before, if you put teams under pressure in this league on the ball, they will make mistakes. They will make mistakes, and this is something we've wanted to see for a long time. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. I think there's more to come. I think there's another gear. Whether that's with January signings or getting players back from injury, I think this Rangers team have another gear when it comes to kind of in possession. But out of possession, teams are really, really struggling against us in the moment, and that's title-winning form, isn't it? Those defensive numbers are title-winning form, and that's certainly what I want to see at the end of the season. Yeah,
that's what you like to hear, is title-winning form. But, Ross touched on that word there, dominant, and it's really difficult to disagree with that given the way we've played. But Craig, this team have earned that right for me since Clement's come in. It was the game midweek there when I just wasn't. You were just like, I think we're just going to win this. When I was not at all. But I really feel that they have earned that now. And are you surprised to have seen these changes so quickly and how dominant that we have become under Clement?
No, because it's what he said he wanted to do. It's one of the first things he said that he wanted to create was dominant football. I think how quickly he's been able to implement it. I think how quickly he's been able to take this squad of players who were all over the place, who were struggling, didn't look like they knew what they were supposed to be doing on the pitch, didn't look like they were taking any sort of direction or instruction related on formation. I think I may have seen with Sunderland how quickly that can inset yesterday as they lost 3-0. But there's certain players that are so important to that, and Connor Goldson is one of them. I think at the back, we've seen some games where it's been potentially Suter and Davies together, or Suter and Balogun. We do not look anywhere near as comfortable or confident when Connor Goldson isn't there. So it was a wee bit of a concern when we went down with 5 minutes to go. Obviously, he was getting a wee bit of treatment on his groin, so hopefully that's just a small thing that can be overcome in the next couple of days. But definitely by the 30th against Celtic, because he'll be a vital part of any performance that we put in there if we're going to get a positive result. So James Tavernier, I think, is another one who's been really important. John Lundstrom would be one, albeit it wasn't in the team today. So these are the kind of players that have been so important to creating that dominance and having that solid base for us to then build upon. But I think I'm not surprised that it's happened. I'm surprised how quickly it has, though.
Yeah, it's magnificent though. That domination's got us a top spot in the Europa League group, a trophy, and within our own hands to get back to top of the league if we've won our game in hand, which at this moment in time I'm expecting us to do. So look, listen, that just about sums it up. There's one final thing to ask you both before we finish. I actually struggled with this. I always think maybe it's either we've played really, really badly, so I can't think of a man of a match, or it's just been a bit of a team performance. And for me, I don't think anybody individually stood out. I'm going to make you pick a man of the match though, Ross. But yeah, anybody stand out for you today?
I think for me it's between Abdallah Sima and Todd Cantwell again. I think Abdallah Sima again has shown how influential he is for this team. He's always the outball. It looks to be who we always try and hit when we're under a little bit of pressure at the back. And I think both ways he's really good at the moment. Defensively he's really good. He tracks his man. It's very, very difficult for opposition fullbacks to get by him. So I really like to see that side of him. But I'm going to go with Todd Cantwell. I think in the first 15-20 minutes he's made the impact that's won the game for Rangers. I know the rest of the game it became a wee bit difficult for Rangers to play. Motherwell as well, to be fair to them. The weather wasn't great today, but he's done enough in that first half, I think, to earn man of the match. So I'm going to go with Todd Cantwell for this one.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And Craig, you?
I didn't have Todd Cantwell in there, to be fair, albeit Ross has put quite a convincing argument forward for it. I had Abdallah Sima or Cyril Dessers in there as my man of the match. I think Cyril Dessers has really come onto a game in recent weeks, and he showed again how his link-up play's got so much better. Philippe Clement, I think, has said that he's been spending some time with Cyril Dessers and improving that, and Cyril Dessers has said the same in press conferences as well. So they're obviously working on individuals to try and improve and get them into better form, and I think we're seeing the fruits of that now from Cyril Dessers. His assist for Kieran Dowell's goal was really good. Motherwell have a really physical defence as well, so he was strong enough and he was big enough to take the ball in and have that link between the strikers in the midfield to bring them into play, and guys like Todd Cantwell and Abdallah Sima the ball. I think Abdallah Sima is again continuing to be particularly impressive. He had a wee dip, I think it was prior to the St Mirren game, when so much was made about the fact that he had just had a baby and how much sleep he was getting. I think he was having to put in daily reports to the Rangers media as to how much he'd slept the night before. But since then he's come back onto a game, and he's such a vital part of how we play. His pace, his ability to run directly at players, his ability to be that outball when we are maybe in a bit of trouble and you can just lump a ball over the top and he'll be 9 times out of 10 he's going to catch it. But also the defensive work he does as well. We saw so many times in the game today he was back at his own corner flag and he's seen the ball out for a goal kick, or he's forcing the Motherwell player to go back the way, and I think Abdallah Sima's really impressed me, and there's been a lot of discussion about should we sign him permanently. If we can, I think we should, so I think he's my man of the match today, Abdallah Sima. But Cyril Dessers, I thought, deserved a special mention.
Yeah, just a quick one to the viewers and listeners out there. This is the second time we've recorded this because we didn't record the audio the first time, and I genuinely thought you were going to change to my man of the match there, Craig. I was like, oh no, he's taking my points away from me here. But no, that I think it's, Cantwell, I think, is a fair shout. Sima, a really good shout as well. But for me, and I said I know I'm absolutely going to get slaughtered for this, but I'm going to give it to Dessos. I do understand that okay, there was that shot that went out wide, but I'm going to claim the wind caught that one. But just you can see the confidence in him now. As you said, his hold up play was so much better. I thought he was desperately unlucky not to score. The first one he was offside, he was definitely offside, but I'd like to see those lines again for the second one. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, I just think he's just really coming into a game, and given that I won't include Sam Lammers in as a striking option there, but given that he's our only fit realistic striking option at the minute, I'm pretty delighted that he's hitting form at the right minute. But listen, everybody, just want to say thanks to you, Craig, and thanks to yourself, Ross, for joining us in the podcast. We will be back on Wednesday. We will be playing Ross County. I've already been told that once and forgotten it again. We're playing Ross County at Wednesday, and then there's the small matter of Old Firm on the 30th. I'm not quite sure who's doing that. But listen, just want to say thank you to everybody for watching us, joining us. As always, it's been a up and down year as Rangers supporters, but we just want to say thank you for sticking with us. There'll be more content to come in the new year. Look forward to a really good winter break from This Is Ibrox, and we just want to wish you all a Merry Christmas. Take care, everybody, and goodbye.